What's up, everybody? Hope y'all having a blessed day. Thank you for tuning in with me. Well, thank you for tuning in today and chilling with me, your boy Savage. And today we are going to be moving further along in my book that I have been reading from, and I'm so excited because I have about like 200 some more pages to read, and then I'll be done with Judah. And I'm still debating on if I want to move on to Levi and Benjamin, but who knows? Right now, today's focus is on the topic of today's video is will the real King James please stand up? Will the real King James please stand up? Okay, because there's a lot of people that's called King James, but there's only one. There is only one, and that is King James Stuart, the sixth and the first of his name. He was a black man, a black Negro man from the tribe of Judah, and that is what we're going to be talking about here today. He is the one who had the Bible translated. He did not write the Bible. He had the Bible translated into, his version came in the 1600s, but since then, the Roman Catholic Church of Satan, they have came forth and taken well over 14 books out of the Bible. Today, we call that the Apocrypha. But anyway, this is a very, very important lesson. Very important because today, when you Google King James, King James and the Bible, a white man will pop up. And today, I'm here to show you that King James wasn't a white man. He was a black man, and he was not a white homosexual, as some people argue. Some people argue that he was a homosexual. Some people argue that he was bisexual. He was not a homosexual. He was not into witchcraft. We're going to talk about all of that here today. So the topic of the video is going to be will the real King James please stand up? Okay? And so, like I said, this is King James Stuart. And, before I get into it, okay, so King James Stuart, he was from the Stuart dynasty. So they go through all of this to hide our history, right? But you can still find out that, let me cross my hands because I am not looking to be in the Illuminati. No, thank you. But you will find out, that they try to hide our history, but there are certain things you can't hide because King James Stuart had a son named King Charles, and his nickname was Black Boy. Now they even tried to paint King Charles as white too, but when you put in King Charles Black Boy, that's when the true origins come out. King James was the first king to unite England, Ireland, Scotland, and England, Ireland, and Scotland. And it's another one. It's another one that I forgot. But as I'm reading, you'll hear about it. He united all of those. He was king of all of those. I'm going to talk about how black people ruled Europe during the Dark Ages, what's known as the Dark Ages. Germany was ruled by black people. Italy was ruled by black people. So that's what I'm going to talk about here today. Those people who are sitting on the throne today are imposters. They come from the Wettin dynasty. They were so King James was, and then his son was, but he was taken captive by Oliver Cromwell. Now I know a lot of people have probably heard of that name, but a lot of people don't know the true history. It's probably a name that we all heard in school, because I know I did when I was in school. But never know the history. Never paid attention to the history, and thank God. But now I can say I know how those imposters got on the throne today. It was through Oliver Cromwell. He was the one that took out King James' son, King Charles, aka Black Boy. Oliver Cromwell was the one who took him captive. So, but we're going to get into all of that. We'll get into all of that here. And so, beginning, King James, 6th and the 1st, His Royal Highness, by Yakana Fitz Savage. Thank y'all for joining me, though. For real, I hope y'all having a blessed day. Definitely appreciate y'all. And new subscribers, welcome. Thank you for subscribing. And so I have a picture here, and I'm going to read what's on the picture, because later I'll come back and show you. And it's not so much the words that's important, but it is the pictures, that I put in here. So, King James was a king of Great Britain, France, and Ireland. Also, I know he became king of Scotland too. He was a black man, and the King James Bible is named after him. King James approved 54 scholars to work on the translation. 47 worked in 6 groups at 3 locations for 7 years, comparing previous English translations, Geneva Bible, and texts in the original language, Hebrew and Greek. King James translation had a significant influence on the English language and was widely accepted as the standard English Bible. Because of the project being overseen by King James and the care and precise attention to detail during this 7-year translation, the King James Bible was considered one of the most accurate translations in existence. And that's real. And so, like I said, that's his version. And in his version, there is no name Jesus. Would like to point that out. It's actually Ieous, Ios, or something like that, which is in the Greek means Zeus. That's because Christ's name is Yeshaya, and that's Hebrew for my Savior. That's what's in the ancient Dead Sea Scrolls, and a few other places. But like I was saying, his version was in the 1600s, and it had more than 66 books in it. So, if you ever get a chance, if you have the Bible app on your phone, you can actually go into your Bible and go into like the upper right hand corner, and it's like somewhere where you can get all the different versions of the Bible, and it's KJVA. And what I want you to do is, okay, in the King James version, the KJV version, go to Esther and go to, I think it's Esther 10. Let me see. Hold on. I do this all the time with people who read the Bible to show them, like, okay. So if you go to Esther and go to Esther 10, right? If you go to Esther 10, Esther 10 only has 3 verses, right? But in the right-hand corner of the app, it has the KJV and it has the little world symbol by it. If you click that, then different versions come up. Look for KJVA. Oh, KJVAAE. It's the King James Version with Apocrypha, American Edition. Now, when you get there, go out of Esther and scroll all the way down. And you're after Judith. Well, it goes Zechariah, Malachi, Tobit, Judith, Esther editions. And look, hit verse 10. And it picks up on the 4th verse of Esther 10. Esther 10 in the 66 books is not done at verse 3. Esther 10 actually has 13 verses. They only gave you 3. They left 10 out. There was a reason for that. You need to ask the Roman Catholic Church. Not Little John. Ask the Roman Catholic Church. And you know how to work a phone. You know how to work a phone to look up stuff on the Shade Room. So I know you know how to work this Bible app. But yeah, Esther editions. And it's saying, and then actually in the book of Esther, it goes up to 16. So it's actually 16 chapters in the book of Esther. So y'all been getting duped by the Roman Catholic Church for a while now. But you was mad at me. Anyway. I know my history. Do you? Do you even know that the Bible you claim to love and read was compiled by a black Hebrew Negro king? This is not a white man's book, and I bet you won't learn this in church. You can come together. We've been marching since MLK era, and it seems to be non-effective because instead of Christ, this generation has Black Lives Matter. If obesity in the church keeps rising, pretty soon no one will be marching. It's hard enough for some to do 1 block, let alone a mile. If the doctrine is not right, coming together won't work because this time he, meaning God, he is waiting for a special cry like what happened at Jericho. There were no different sects, Kojic, Baptist, Catholic, Pentecostal, of Israel like it is in the Christian church today. The church has not replaced Israel. There were no Gentiles there either. Israel was all on the same accord. Oh, and if you don't recognize the correct Sabbath, Saturday, it's no point in coming together to do anything. If you don't believe me, read Isaiah 58, King James Version, and think about what you do on Saturday. You love Christ, or so you say, but you sure getting ready to put that Christmas tree up when you know what Jeremiah 10:1-4, King James Version says. People say I'm mean, but I'm really not. I tell you the truth because I love you. And am I your enemy because I tell you the truth? The truth hurts sometimes, no matter how soft you deliver it. Sometimes we don't want to hear the truth because that means we have to act. And that's where the church went wrong. Most have lost their connections to the communities they are supposed to serve. Are you an island? No one is an island. Oh, and it's funny how people say I'm rude in speech, but wasn't Paul? I thought the disciples came from hard lives and were vile men before Christ. You have to teach with authority. Christ taught with authority, and even though the church has made him into Barney, I know he is not. I also know Christ is very sarcastic himself. Anyway, on to the facts. Are you doing any research on who or what you claim you love? Are you studying to show thyself approved, or did your oil burn out years ago? Did you know King James the Sixth and the First is a black Hebrew Jew? He is the reason you have a Bible. We all have a Bible today. Did you even know Negroes at one point ruled Europe 193 AD to that damn Renaissance? This is the time period known as the Dark Ages, when black people ruled Europe, Germany, and Italy. Never celebrate the Renaissance. The Renaissance is when Esau whites repainted all the black images white. Iconoclasm. That's when they repainted all the black biblical images, and all our black kings and everything throughout history. They repainted it white, and the term is called iconoclasm. This is why it is important to know history. This is why it's important to read a damn book. And when you read it, actually read it. King James the Sixth and the First. King James' full name was James Charles Stuart, born June 19th, Gemini, at Edinburgh Castle in Scotland. See, that's why he was King of Scotland. He was born to Mary, Queen of Scots, and Lord Darnley in 1566. His father was murdered a year later after his birth in 1567. This led to James being crowned the King of Scotland at only 13 months old. He was at this time crowned James VI of Scotland, and at age 12 he assumed power over the throne. From the time of his youth, James was tutored in the languages of Greek, Latin, French, Italian, and Spanish. He was also a well-earned historian in his own right. It is also important to mention that he was learned in arithmetic and cosmography, the study of maps, along with many other areas of learning. After ruling over Scotland for 36 years, James became the first ever king to rule over both England and Scotland when he became King of England in the year 1603. It was at his ascension to the throne of England that he became known as King James I, while in Scotland he was called King James VI. This was due to the fact that he ascended to each of these thrones at two different time periods. While there were already 5 James to rule over Scotland prior to King James VI, James became the first to rule over England. He was the first king to sit on 3 different thrones at once, England, Scotland, and Ireland, and was responsible for uniting these 3 countries into what is called Great Britain. you would believe that an accomplishment as great as this would be taught in modern history. He was responsible for calling a decree for the translation of the Old and New Testament out of the original Hebrew and Greek tongues. So these translation, these translations, these predate the Quran, because you know the Quran didn't come about until after the 7th century. Because you know Islam was created by the Roman Catholic Church. No matter what they tell you, I like the bow ties; they're nice. But no matter what they tell you, Islam was created by the Roman Catholic Church. I do, like them and respect them, but the Bible predates all, including the Book of the Dead. Okay? And why would you want to worship a book about the dead? No. Worship the book that brings life, the Bible. So, yeah. This translation is known today as the King James Version 1611 Bible and is the most accurate translation of the Bible simply because it correlates almost exactly with the Hebrew and Greek scrolls in which the Old Testament and New Testament was written. See, these scrolls, they predate the Book of the Dead, any Osiris and Horus, and predates them. Okay. It also predates Zeus and Athena and Medusa and Kronos, and it predates all of Thor, all of Odin. It predates all of these religions: the Book of the Dead, the Talmud, the Kabbalah, whatever book you want to bring. These Hebrew scrolls, they predate the Quran. Whatever Buddha got, and whatever China and the Asians got, the Taoism and stuff like that, it predates all of that stuff. So, I don't know. Oh, yeah, and it also predates the whatever book, we was already here. Whatever book they want to bring, it predates them too. Yes, our people was already here. Yes, King Solomon, who I'm going to speak about later on, he's going to come after King David. He had a naval fleet. So yes, our people knew about this land. And I do believe that our people was already over here. But you cannot deny the slave ships. And you want to know where the slave ships at? Go ask the Jewish people. Go ask the Jewish people. Don't come asking me about no slave ship. Go ask the Jewish people, because they the ones that own the slave ships. It's documented. Go ask them. What did they do with their ships? They probably took them apart and they probably used them to build the plantations that was made out of wood. Because wood does rot when it's mixed, when it gets like waterlogged and stuff, it does rot. Unless you do like what Italy did and you submerge the planks, you submerge the wooden planks down, and where there's no air or nothing like that, over time it does get as hard as cement. In those instances, that's how that city was able to do what it did. But in the ship's instances, it was made out of wood. Just like with the ark, it was made out of wood. Water, air, wood, rot. That's what it does. So if you want to know where the ships was at, I suggest you probably should go ask the Jewish people, because I've showed proof of them owning the ships. Go ask them. We was already here people, and they want to know where the ships was at. Go ask the Jewish people. And while you're asking them, tell them that we want our damn gold back too. The gold that they stole out of Solomon's temple, we want our gold back. That's why they on fire over there. That's a whole different story. Anyway, King James had nothing to do King James had nothing to do with the actual translation of the Bible as far as hands-on translating from one language to another. He instead hired 47 of the best scholars of his time who were skilled in Hebrew and Greek to translate the holy text from one language to another. King James was a staunch opponent against the establishment known as the Roman Catholic Church. That's why they repainted him as white and made him homosexual. King James was a staunch opponent against the establishment known as the Roman Catholic Church, making quotes such as, "Rome is the seat of the Antichrist," King James 6 and 1, 6 and the first AP, and "the Pope is the Antichrist," quote, King James 6 and the first, Meditation upon Revelation 20, chapter 20, verses 7 through 10. And last but not least, quote, "The scripture forbiddeth to worship the image of anything that God created," King James 6 and the first, premonition to all most mighty monarchs. These was books that he wrote. These was taken out of different books that he wrote. Here we have listed just a few of many of the quotes of King James in reference to what he thought of the Roman Catholic Church, then known as the Papists. In fact, James authored many books exposing and opposing everything from the Roman Catholic Church to the Rosicrucian order of witchcraft and sorcery that began to uprise while James was still on his throne. A collection of King James writings can be found in a hard-to-find book named The Works of the Most High and Mighty Prince James. Now we can see why the Roman Catholic Church doesn't take any measures to protect the character of King James. King James, born 1565, father murdered 1566, mother dethroned and imprisoned temporarily 1567, mother again arrested for 19 years 1568, mother executed 1587. I did already show these pictures. Alright, so moving along, King James the Sixth and the First. Black Hebrews established the original British Empire by Yakina Fitz Savage. King James Sixth and the First of the Stuart dynasty is another part of black history that goes untold. There is only one King James, and I'm not talking about LeBron James. This lesson will review key points that have been proven from previous lessons that shows how black Hebrew Israelites established the original British Empire. I will also speak about one of the biggest enemies of King James, who was also a black Hebrew like King James. Go figure, right? We still do this today. He is a loser by the name of Sir Anthony Weldon. I can't stand him and that bastard Manetho. Ugh, Manetho. Deuteronomy 28, verse 64. And the Lord shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. When our ancestors fled out of Israel in 70 AD from the Roman siege of Jerusalem, we might have become refugees in Africa, but we also started ruling there as kings and queens. Our ancestors fled into the mountains in the north, crossing into Europe. I told you about the ones of our ancestors who were captured and how they were made into gladiators. Some of our people were also in the Spartan army that we hear about today. I will also tell you that Europe is where our ancestors also began to rule as kings and queens. Historians love to call this time period the Dark Ages. According to white historical scholars, this is a time period for about a little over 1,000 years when there was allegedly no recorded history. They lied, like they always do. But you gotta remember, these are the same people who will take stuff and bury it and then dig it up and be like, look what we found. So when they be talking about these new discoveries, oh, we discovered this secret room in this ancient tomb. They probably done built it themselves. Just like when they be talking about going into space. Even they astronauts, they own, what is the name, Bud Ellison or something like that, coming out talking about, they never went to the moon and stuff like that. So they lied. But this is what they have always done, lie. This is why their white historians refer to that time period as the Dark Ages. We call that time period the Dark Ages because our ancestors, who are dark-skinned people, ruled Europe. We ruled Italy, Germany, England, Ireland, Scotland, and more. This time period started after Rome fell around the year 227 AD. The Most High prophesied about this time period to the patriarch of our nation, Abraham. He prophesied that through the son, who Sarah gives birth to, would come kings. Genesis 17, verse 16. And I will bless her and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. The one king in particular who will be the focal point in this lesson descends from Abraham and Sarah. He is King James of the Stuart dynasty. Revisiting the fall of the southern kingdom of Judah by the hand of the Roman army in 70 AD will prove this. Christ prophesied about the fall of our people that would shortly come to pass after his resurrection in 31 AD. Luke 21, verse 20, King James Version, verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. About 1 million of our people fled into Africa, where we became refugees. The rest of us fled north into Rome and Europe, where we became refugees and slaves there as well. Christ told his disciples that the Negroes, Haitians, and the people of the Caribbean islands, which are the people who originally dwelt in Jerusalem, will have to flee Jerusalem. A lot of our people were captured by the Romans, taken as slaves to Europe, and forced to fight in their arenas as gladiators. In America today, you'll find our people in these modern day Roman arenas such as the NFL, NBA, boxing, and when you go visit these celebrities, when you go buy tickets to, sit in the stadium, and view one celebrity or group, that too. If you ever have the chance to watch the movie called Pompeii, the movie is describing the events that happened to the Hebrews who were captured as slaves during the Roman siege of Jerusalem 70 AD. This movie takes place in 78 AD. In this movie, it shows that the majority of the slaves being taken to Pompeii were black Hebrews. The name Pompeii comes from the Roman general who led the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD. His name was General Pompey, which is where the city of Pompeii received its name. He named it after himself. I keep saying throughout my book how Hollywood stays taking ideas for their movies out of the Bible. They tell half truths, just like that goddamn Ancient Aliens on the History Network, the biased History Network, because they sure don't tell the truth. I keep saying throughout my book how Hollywood stays taking ideas for their movies out of the Bible. They tell half truths. This is why they are always being burned. I recently showed a comparison of the recent fires in Los Angeles, Pacific Palisades, etc., to the movie Constantine. Yeah, and I did a video. It's on my TikTok, on my Facebook, on my Instagram. I think I might have put it on here too. I don't know, but maybe I didn't. But there is a scene on Constantine where he goes to Hades, hell, to see if Angela's sister was there. And he's sitting in a chair like this, and he gets up and he walks out. Man, it looked just like those California fires. The scene where he visits hell to see if that woman's twin sister was there, it looked just like Cali. Luke 21, verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. 21. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and woe to them that give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Yeah, that's why you see them fires over there. I also just put that on my Facebook too. That's why you see those fires and stuff happening over there. They don't publicize that though too much, because they don't want you to know that they're being punished. But they are. They're being punished too. I will quote words from a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu, written by a man named Rudolph R. Windsor. He researched the same facts, and he also wrote about what he researched further, backing up what Christ said to his disciples. Christ told the disciples about how the fall of our people would happen. From Babylon to Timbuktu, written by Rudolph R. Windsor, page 84. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem in 70 AD. General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa. They fled into Africa. From where? From Israel. Fleeing from Roman persecution. From where? In Israel. Slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. And I told you, for my people, he's already here. He's already here. He's already here. For them people, it's been proven. There's a book called The Black Image in the White Mind. Dr. Moore and an Egyptologist, they came together to compare the mummy heads that was over in Egypt from the people, that was the slaves, and then they compared the skulls to the slaves that was over here, whether they was indigenous, whether they whatever. You believe they came here. I believe they, when they came over here by boat. Yes, we was already here too, but we also came over here by boat. And I believe more came over here than what was already here. Any way you want to shoot it, they compare skulls from two different places. And what they found was the skulls from the slaves over in Egypt was an exact match to the skulls of the slaves that was over here. To my people, we was already here. So that would prove that we was over there too. We was already somewhere. Yes, we was over here, but we was already somewhere else too. Again, we were refugees in Africa. We were also taken to Europe as slaves, but eventually we became rulers in all of Europe. This period in time is known as the Dark Ages, who was led by a black Hebrew by the name of Septimius Severus. The beginning of the Dark Ages started when Septimius Severus took over Rome and became emperor in 193 AD. But they're not going to teach you that in school, and you damn sure ain't going to learn it on Sunday in church. We also became known as the Moor dynasty in Spain, as well as the Crusaders. Our people fell out of power in Europe around 1848 AD. This was shortly after King James died. This is why Negroes are in Europe today, which brings me to the next part of the lesson. I will cover the validity of the translation of the King James Version Bible. Many people today think that King James wrote the Bible himself, but he did not write the Bible. King James had the Bible translated from Hebrew, Greek, and Latin into English. Next up here, Sir Anthony Weldon, one of the biggest lying haters in history. Cause baby, ain't nobody worse than that goddamn Manetho. Ugh, I can't stand Manetho. Sir Anthony Weldon, one of the biggest lying haters in history. I don't like this loser because Sir Anthony Weldon is one of the main reasons why many people question the validity regarding the translation of the King James Version Bible until this day. There are many false accusations that have been written by Weldon, such as accusations of King James being a homosexual, or accusations that King James had a sexual relationship with his own mother, all stem from a book written by Weldon called The Court and Character of King James I. Weldon's blasphemous book was written and published in 1650 AD. This was 25 years after the death of King James. Go figure, right? When he couldn't defend himself. Below is an article which includes the writings from King James and Sir Anthony Weldon in a commentary of the relationship between these two, as well as the hatred that the Roman Catholic Church had for King James. Basilicon Doron by King James. The King unites Scotland and England. King James' great aspiration to be the first king of both Scotland and England was realized in 1603 upon the death of Queen Elizabeth. When he ascended to the English throne that year, he had already been King of Scotland for 36 years. He was now known as King James, 6th of Scotland and 1st of England. The king played a masterly political game and kept his kingdom out of war. For the first time, a Scottish monarch wielded effective authority over the more far-flung areas of the realm. He supported literature both through his own writing and his patronage. There was peace during his reign, both with his subjects and foreign powers. The king had many enemies. As a Scotsman ruling over the English, the king endured much racism and slander, especially from the once powerful English lords and ladies who he replaced with his Scottish countrymen. See? Unfortunately, many of today's historians look to the writings of hostile sources such as Sir Anthony Weldon and Francis Osborne as accurate descriptions of this great king. One of the king's detractors, Sir Anthony Weldon, was knighted by King James but was subsequently dismissed after King James found racist writings by Weldon about the king's native Scotland. Many historians today quote Weldon as if he were a reliable historical source. Examples of Weldon's racism are found in his treatise entitled A Perfect Description of the People and Country of Scotland, where he says that the Scots are a stinking people who hold fornication but a pastime. He also said their flesh naturally abhors cleanness. Their breath commonly stinks of pottage. To be chained in marriage with one of them were to be tied to a dead carcass and cast into a stinking ditch. I do wonder that King James should be born in so stinking a town as Edinburgh in lousy Scotland. You gotta think this was way back in the day, this was fighting words back then. It's like today, if somebody roll up on your set talking about your hood, yeah, it's dirty over here. They don't never clean up over here, then it's gonna be a problem. Now, historians continue to consult the writings of Anthony Weldon despite his obvious bias towards the king. He insinuated that King James had inordinate affections towards other men, but like a coward, he did not do this until 25 years after King James was dead and could not defend himself. In the white, sodomite, homosexual community, the king is being claimed as one of their own, which he was not. He was not white, nor was he homosexual. They always failed to mention King James and his queen having 9 children together. You can read about the rumors in this article or check out an excellently researched book on the subject by Stephen Constant Sr. entitled King James Unjustly Accused. Almost prophetically, the king wrote of his enemies, "They quarrel me, not for any evil or vice in me, but because I was a king, which they thought the highest evil, and because they were ashamed to profess this quarrel, they were busy to look narrowly in all my actions, and I warrant you a mote in my eye. Yes, a false report was matter enough for them to work upon." James the First, Basilican Doron. The Catholic religion, Satan's religion, was also an enemy of King James. There have been a number of times where assassination attempts were made against the king by Papists, as King James called them. Most notably, one conspiracy that was discovered led to all the co-conspirators even being executed. In 1605, Roman Catholic Guy Fawkes attempted to blow up Parliament when the king was to have been present. This failed attempt is celebrated on November 5th in England each year and is known as Guy Fawkes Night. King James was automatically made an enemy of Rome because he was an evangelist of the true gospel. King James strongly spurned the errors of the Roman superstition and rebuked them, yet he treated Romanist subjects fairly. Catholic ambassador Niccolo Molin said this of King James: "He is a Protestant. The king tries to extend his Protestant religion to the whole island. The king is a bitter enemy of our religion. He frequently speaks of it in terms of contempt. He is all the harsher because of this last conspiracy against his life. He understood that the Jesuits had a hand in it, and that is http://www.spreadhisword.org //kingbio.htm space https colon // that's youtu.be/c-e uppercase EKC 0 uppercase J lowercase v J C I. Anyway, when I show what I'm reading, you'll be able to see it, I guess. Below is a biography of the loser, Sir Anthony Weldon, which further shows why he set out to destroy the character of King James. Sir Anthony Weldon, c. 1583 through 1648. Sir Loser Anthony Weldon, 1583 through 1648, was an English loser, 17th century courtier and politician. He is also the purported author of The Court and Character of King James I below. Anthony Weldon had to be excluded from the court. Weldon swore vengeance. It was not until 1650 25 years after the death of King James that Weldon saw his chance. He wrote a paper calling James a homosexual. Obviously, James, dead, was in no condition to defend himself. The report was largely ignored since there were still enough people alive who knew it wasn't true. It seems, though, that Weldon's false account is being once again largely ignored by the majority of so-called Christians, with the exception of those with an ulterior motive, Pan-Africans, such as its author had. It might also be mentioned here that the Roman Catholic Church was so desperate to keep the true Bible out of the hands of the English people that it attempted to kill King James and all of Parliament in 1605. In 1605, a Roman Catholic by the name of Guy Fawkes, under the direction of a Jesuit priest by the name of Henry Garnet, was found in the basement of Parliament with 36 barrels of gunpowder, which he was to use to blow up King James and the entire Parliament. After killing the king, they planned on imprisoning his children, reestablishing England as a state loyal to the Pope, and kill all who resisted. Needless to say, the perfect English Bible would have been one of the plot's victims. Fawkes and Garnet and 8 other conspirators were caught and hanged. It seems that those who worked so hard to discredit the character of King James joined an unholy lot. In conclusion, we can see that King James wasn't a homosexual, and it was Sir Anthony Weldon, a loser, who called him one in his book, The Court and Character of King James I, to seek vengeance on the great King James. References: Joseph Marshall and Sean Kelsey Weldon, Sir Anthony, Bap 1583 D 1648, Oxford Dictionary of National Biography, Oxford University Press, 2004, access 6 July 2007, Anthony Weldon, Sir, The Court and Character of King James I, London, 1651. Another common misconception about the validity of the King James Version Bible is that many people think that King James wrote the Bible. King James did not write the Bible. King James authorized 54 translators to translate the Bible into Greek, Latin, and English. This was prophesied to happen by God. And it was a total of 54. 47 actually did the translating and the writing, and I forgot what the other ones did when I researched it, but it was a total of 54 though. Isaiah 28 verse 11, for with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to his people. The Most High knew that his chosen people will be taken to another land where our heritage, culture, laws, and language will be beaten out of us, and we will be forced to speak another language. Remember Toby? Remember Jeremiah 5 verse 15, King James Version. Lo, I will bring a nation upon you from afar, O house of Israel, saith the Lord. It is a mighty nation, it is an ancient nation, a nation whose language thou knowest not, neither understandest what they say. The prophets of old and in the New Testament of the Bible were all Israelites. They scribed the thoughts via downloads of the Most High, Ahia, Ashar, Ahia, I am that I am. That's the name that he gave to Moses in Exodus 3 verse 14, King James Version, as he wanted it written. They scribed the thoughts via downloads of the Most High, Ahia, Ashar, Ahia, as he wanted it written. In some cases, the 10 Commandments and the law, he wrote with his own finger on stone tablets. Jeremiah 30, verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord God of Israel, saying, Write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book. For lo, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Lord, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave their fathers, and they shall possess it. Do you think that the Most High stopped urging men whom he chose to stop authoring books from the downloads that he has sent them? No. This book is not possible without the Most High. This book, this book that I'm reading out of, this book is not possible without the Most High. He blessed me. 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 20. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the Scripture is of any private interpretation. For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Ghost. The translators of the Bible, who translated the words of the prophets into the language that most of us currently speak, which is English, were also Israelites. These men were under the protection of King James. Anyone who thinks the Bible is tainted fails to see how the Bible has predicted everything that is going on in the world today. When the elite need ideas for their Hollywood movies, they turn to the Bible. Some of the best movies, Terminator, The Lion King, Constantine, and The Matrix, to name a few, are inspired by the Bible. Proverbs 30, verse 5, King James Version. Every word of God is pure. He is a shield unto them that put their trust in him. The Most High is not the author of confusion. He is not going to give us a tainted book. None of the translations have been tampered with. The only damage that the Most High allowed the Roman Catholics to do in regards to the Bible is when they separated the Apocrypha from the original Bible in the 1800s. These are books like the Book of Jubilees, Enoch, Maccabees, Jasher, Wisdom of Solomon, Baruch, and the rest of Esther, to name a few. To say that God's word is tainted shows a lack of faith in God, that he is still and always will be in control of his truth. Every word is set up exactly how God wants it. King James takes no credit for writing the Bible. Deuteronomy 30, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessing and the curse which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath driven thee, and shall return unto the Lord thy God, and shall obey his voice according to all that I command thee this day, thou and thy children, with all thine heart and with all thy soul. Verse 3. That then the Lord thy God will turn thy captivity and have compassion upon thee, and will return and gather thee from all the nations whither the Lord thy God hath scattered thee. And if any of thine be driven out unto the outmost parts of heaven, from thence will the Lord thy God gather thee, and from thence will he fetch thee. And the Lord thy God will bring thee into the land which thy fathers possessed, and thou shalt possess it, and he will do thee good and multiply thee above thy fathers. As you can see, I'm not pulling this knowledge out of thin air. All these facts that I am providing have been proven. This hidden truth is backed up by the Bible, historical books, as well as historical paintings and statues of our history. This is why we were not allowed to read during slavery. Hashtag wake up, Judah. And then one more thing here. One more thing. We are to follow the Bible literally as it is written, not our interpretation, not my interpretation, not your interpretation, not your daddy interpretation, not your grandpappy's interpretation, not your mammy's interpretation. Damn sure not the so-called wannabe prophetess Juanita Bynum interpretation. In fact, the Bible proves there is no private interpretations of scriptures. Stop using the lame excuse. That's your interpretation. The Bible is clear as day. But when you bring up a touchy subject, such as the Bible stating you can't eat pork, Christians will be like, oh, that's your interpretation. When you bring up a touchy subject like Christmas, you can show them in Jeremiah 10, 1 through 4. Oh, that's your interpretation. No, this is clear as day that this is talking about a Christmas tree. Let's not forget 2 Peter's chapter 1, verses 20 through 21. Knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scripture is of any private interpretation. For the prophecy came not in old time by the will of man, but holy men of God spake as they were moved by the Holy Spirit. 2 Peter's 1, that's 20 and 21, King James Version. I know that this image of a black King James can be a little confusing because of your Western education, but this is the truth that is known by the rich and the elite in the world. This was the reason it looks like paraded all of the England historians and professors before you before I got into the bowels of this book. I had to get your mind ready to receive the truth. King James came from a long line of black, Scottish, Stuart kings, 343 years of rulership in Scotland. The Stuarts not only ruled in Scotland, they ruled France, Spain, Ireland, and England, Britain, Wales. King James was able to rule all of these lands because all of these people were of Iberian black descent. They were the what? They were the what? What were they? They are the children of Israel. Might as well show you this now. King James, the 6th and the 1st. How Black People Lost Control Over the United Kingdom by Yakana Fit Savage. Okay. Look at this coin. It looked like a black dude on the coin. You could tell. Oh. Look like a black dude. And see, like I said, when you Google King James, a white man is going to come up. This is why they don't want you to go beyond slavery. This is why. Alright, so moving on. And King James the 6th and the 1st. This is how Black people lost control over the United Kingdom by Yakana Fitz Savage. Alright. And I already showed you the coin. Okay, so I'm going to just read. Here is a coin of the original King James. Even from the coin, you can tell that he is black. The name James is actually a Hebrew name that derives from our forefather of the 12 tribes of Israel, Jacob. King James, the 1st and the 6th, was named after our forefather Jacob. Notice how the spelling of the word James on the coin is spelled IACOB with the letter I at the beginning. Well, the reason for this is because the letter I in Jacob, aka Jacob, is Latin. The letter I does not replace the letter J in his name, but it replaces the letter Y from Hebrew to Latin. The letter I in Latin has a Y sound. The letter J was created in 1478 AD by Giorgio Trissino, who was an Italian Renaissance humanist, poet, dramatist, diplomat, and grammarian. Probably better than me. He is from the Caucasian race, which created this letter to also replace the letter Y. The letter J was added to the English alphabet in 1524. Many of the prophets' names went from Y to J. An example, the Apostle John, who wrote 5 books in the Bible, I will listen to John, would be called Yakana in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know. Hmm. Let me see. Many of the prophets' names went from Y to J. An example, the Apostle John, who wrote 5 books in the Bible, I will listen to John, would be called Yakana in the ancient Paleo Hebrew. The name Yakana, John, can indeed be interpreted to mean gift from God. You better get out of here. What? I did not even know this. Like, I did not know this at all. Like, I mean, this is just the name Yakana, John, can indeed be interpreted to mean gift from God. Wow. That is so that means that I'm a gift. I'm a gift. Oh, so that means I'm a gift from God. That's what. Oh, okay. Okay. While Yakana is a standard Hebrew name, the name Yakanan, Hebrew for Jonathan, which is the source of Yakana, has a meaning of God is gracious or God has favored. This can be understood as God's gift of grace, favor, or blessing. The name Yakanan, which Yakana is derived from, comes from the Hebrew words Yah, God, Kana, grace or favor. This combines to mean God is gracious or God has favored. Since God is gracious or God has favored is often associated with the gift, Yakanan, and by extension, Yakana can be understood as a gift from God in the sense of a blessing or a favor bestowed by God. Mm. That's pretty interesting stuff right there. I'm breaking down names. I figured I'd just slide mine in here real quick. Thank you as I digress. King James was a black Hebrew king who spoke fluently in Greek, Latin, French, English, and his native Scottish language. This is why you will see his name spelled with an I at times instead of a J. The name James, Jacob in ancient Hebrew is pronounced Yaquab, which means supplanter. https www.behindthename.com/name/Jacob. Jacob, gender masculine, usage English, Dutch, Swedish, Norwegian, Danish, Jewish, biblical. Other scripts Hebrew, pronounced Jacob, English, Yaquab, Jacob, Dutch. Key meaning and history from the Latin Icobus, which was from the Greek Icobos, which was from the Hebrew name Yaakov. In the Old Testament, Jacob, later called Israel, is the son of Isaac and Rebekah and the father of the 12 founders of the 12 tribes of Israel. He was born holding his twin brother Esau's heel, and his name is explained as meaning holder of the heel, supplanter. Other theories claim that it is in fact derived from a hypothetical name like Yah-Aquavel, meaning may God protect. The English name Jacob and James derive from the same source, with James coming from Latin Iacomus, a later variant of Iacobus. Unlike English, many languages do not have separate spellings for the two names. In England, Jacob was mainly regarded as a Jewish name during the Middle Ages. The origin of King James' name is a major indicator that he was an Israelite. Names were significant during those times. James and Jacob both derived from the Hebrew language. Back then, you would not name someone with a Hebrew name unless they had Hebrew roots. As you can see, King James the Sixth and the First was a black man. His wife, Queen Anne, is also pictured, and I have her picture here. You can definitely see that she was also a light-skinned black woman. This is part of a fulfillment of prophecy that God promised to our forefather Abraham. And then by the picture, the whitewashed image of Mary II, born April 30th, 1662, London, died December 28th, 1694, London. Queen of England, Scotland, and Ireland, 1689 through 1694, and wife of King William III, as the daughter of King James II. She made it possible for her Dutch husband to become co-ruler of England after he had overthrown James's government. June 9, 2016, married to Queen of England, Scotland, and Ireland. Britannica.com, biography Mary. Okay, so I already showed y'all this picture. Okay, here we go. How we became kings in the United Kingdom. Genesis 17, verse 5, King James Version. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham, for a father of many nations have I made thee. And I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. I guess there may be some who are reading this and wondering what the secret relationship is between black people and the Jews in the Bible. Also, how this all relates to our relationship with the royal monarch of the United Kingdom. We have to understand that a certain people, Esau, went through great lengths to keep our history hidden. Well, here are a few scriptures that link the three together. First of all, the true biblical people from the tribe of Judah are dark-skinned. Jeremiah 14 verse 2. Judah mourneth, and the gates thereof languish. They are black unto the ground, and the cry of Jerusalem is gone up. According to the Bible, the complexion of the true Hebrew Israelites from the tribe of Judah is dark like the earth. Why? Because God made Adam from the dust / dirt of the earth, which is brown. This is contrary to the Jewish people in our land who claim our heritage. You know, the ones who over in Israel burning right now. They are reddish white, meaning you can see their blood through their skin. This is where the terms like redneck come from. God said that the true Jews would always have some type of melanin in our skin, which makes us different shades of brown, from exceptionally light brown, red, or yellow bone to very dark brown, chocolate. Red bone, red bone. Isaiah 29, verse 22, King James Version. Therefore, thus saith the Lord, who redeemed Abraham concerning the house of Jacob. Jacob shall not now be ashamed, neither shall his face now wax pale. Now that I have established the fact that the true biblical nationality of the Negroes in the United Kingdom and America is Hebrew Israelites from the tribe of Judah, now let me establish how we came to the United Kingdom and became kings and rulers there. You may have read this before or even heard me say this before. I tend to repeat myself on purpose because more often than not, people need to hear things 3 to 7 times before they receive and support it. Before Christ was crucified, Christ told his disciples that the Negroes, Haitians, and the people of the Caribbean islands, which are the people who originally dwelt in Jerusalem, would have to flee Jerusalem. In 70 AD, about 1 million of our people fled into Africa where we became refugees. Eventually, we would form places such as Ghana, Nigeria, Congo, Liberia, and etc. The rest of us fled north into Rome and Europe where we became refugees and slaves there as well. A great number of our people were captured by the Romans, taken as slaves to Europe, and forced to fight in their arenas as gladiators. Today, here in America, you will find our people in these modern day Roman arenas such as the NFL, NBA, boxing, and when you go see your favorite, singer or rapper, giving a live concert, you know, and it's like all that people is focused on one or maybe a group. Same thing. Also, if you ever had the chance to watch the movie called Pompeii, please do so. That movie is describing what happened to the Hebrews that were captured as slaves during the Roman siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD. In this movie, you will see that the majority of the slaves being taken to Pompeii were black Hebrews. I wonder what they did with those boats. The name Pompey comes from the Roman general who led the siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD. His name was General Pompey. That is where the city of Pompeii gets its name. He named it after himself. This movie takes place in 78 AD. The Jewish elite always put things in our face via their Hollywood movies. That's why they always be on fire too. Luke 21 verse 20. And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is nigh. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Through the Bible and history, I will prove everything that I am saying. Facts are what is missing from church today. Luke 21, verses 20 through 24, King James Version, actually came to pass, just as Christ said it would. This is why I have a great deal of respect for the Bible. I have not seen any other book where it spoke of the origins of all races of people, even though it focused on one particular group, Israel, whom God chose to be above all other nations. I have not seen any other book that speaks on how each civilization, Kemet, Greece, Rome, America, and China, will rise and fall. I have not seen any other book that speaks on how one group of bastards will subjugate the whole world via them ruling by the sword. The Bible is the #1 best-selling book kept in all hotel rooms. So before you sleep in that hotel bed, pull that Bible out from inside the drawer beside it and bless your room. People film whole orgies, prostitution, in these hotel rooms today, releasing all kinds of spirits. I digress. The Bible is the most commonly found book in hotel rooms worldwide. While not all hotels provide a copy, it's a widely recognized practice, often placed in the bedside drawer or on a shelf. This tradition stems from various cultural, historical, and religious influences. While the Bible holds the top spot in terms of being the most commonly found book in hotel rooms, it's worth noting that the Bible is also the best-selling book of all time, with over 5 billion copies sold, according to Mark Manson. Wow. 5 billion copies sold. Anyway, I will quote words from a book written by a man named Rudolph R. Windsor. He is the author of the book called From Babylon to Timbuktu. He also researched these same facts and wrote about it further, backing up what Christ was saying to his disciples. This is page 84. From Babylon to Timbuktu, written by Rudolph R. Windsor, page 84. In the year 65 BC, the Roman armies under General Pompey captured Jerusalem. In 70 AD, General Vespasian and his son Titus put an end to the Jewish state with great slaughter. During the period of the military governors of Palestine, many outrages and atrocities were committed against the residue of the people. During the period from Pompey to Julius, it has been estimated that over 1 million Jews fled into Africa, fleeing from Roman persecution and slavery. The slave markets were full of black Jewish slaves. Like I said, not only were we refugees in Africa, but we were also taken to Europe as slaves as well. I have another lesson that will also show how a black Roman general by the name of Septimius Severus became the emperor of Rome and overthrew it around 193 AD. I've spoken about this previously, and there's a lesson that you can even in my videos you can go and watch and you can see it. This was the start of the Dark Ages, which is the time period when black people began to rule Europe for over 1,000 years. Eventually, we began to rule all of Europe, which was known as the Dark Ages. This is why knowing our history is important. We also became known as the Moors of Spain, as well as the Crusaders. King Charles I was the son of King James the Sixth and the First during the time when our people fell out of power in Europe. I will show you him on a picture next, but this is why you see Negroes in Europe today. The shade is when you go on tours in London, The tour guides have been trained to dance around this topic. I remember watching something on YouTube where this guy, probably an Israelite, was probing this tour guide to the point where she had to come out. He was probing this tour guide to the point where she had to come out and say that she was not allowed to speak about what he was asking her. They go through great lengths to hide the real history so that those pale faced demons who had Diana deleted can sit on the throne. They too are impostors who stem from the House of Wettin, German Haus Wettin. I love Princess Diana, rest in peace. She was a Cancer like me. I see a lot of myself in her. She was beautiful, poised, intelligent, witty. She was naive, but it was not her fault. She trusted a devilish man who placed her in a situation that was really unjust. I mean, he was a Scorpio. You know how they can be, child. I mean, it's no shade. My granddad was a Scorpio, but he was something else too. So, you know how they can be. So, yes, she trusted a devilish man who placed her in a situation that was really unjust. I was 10 years old when she left this earth, so I didn't understand what I understood today. I have always liked her though. It was her pure energy that let me know that she was a good person. Recently, I watched documentaries on her life and what happened to her. That's why I could say she was naive, but it was not her fault. She trusted a devilish man who placed her in a situation that was really unjust. She kind of reminds me of my mom and her situation with my dad. Her younger son is a good dude, and her oldest son is a snob, just like his father. The reason why that family catches so much hell slash karma is because they are not supposed to even be on the throne. And what they did to a real one, Princess Diana. She truly was an empress, a real one. Now, um, yeah, they do catch a lot of hell, and they try to look so, but they catch hell behind the scenes. And Camilla is trash. She is trash. Like, she's the lowest, like, lowest scum on, like, you did all of that. You did all of that. Had that lady taken out of here and did all of that. And for what? Like, everybody hates you. Like, they all hate her. Like, she's nothing but a mockery. She can't have no kids by him. That's over with. It's just like, you know, it's like, yeah, you might have won, but at what cost? I mean, because she got the one. I don't know if her name is Princess Anne, who I like that lady, though. I like her. But she always find a way to seem like to upstage her or just make her look, Camilla look stupid or something. And as she should. But you know what? Princess Diana was too good for that whole establishment. Even the queen knew it. Even the queen knew it. That's why she bowed to her, on her farewell. I've watched some of the stuff on the Royals, and I be catching, they be having their own little, like, people that be following them, and they be explaining the shade that be going on within the Royals. So I be catching that sometimes, and you know, she was pure, she was innocent, you know. So I'm sad to see her go because she had kids, and but for the sake of her sanity and everything in her spirit. Um, yeah. So, and it's not, I know that, they had something to do with it. So, anyway, it don't matter because don't none of them deserve to be on the throne. None of them. They're from the Wettin dynasty and they are not a part of the Stuart dynasty. Now that we have proven that black people are Israelites by nationality and we became the original rulers of the United Kingdom, the question remains, how and when did we fall out of power in the United Kingdom? And I have a picture of King James' son here. King Charles first was the son of King James sixth and the first during the time of when our people fell out of power in Europe. This also proves that King James the sixth and the first was black. He would be considered Negro today. How did King Charles, aka Black Boy, get to rule over England, Scotland, France, and Ireland? Because his daddy ruled over these countries first and then passed them on to him. I have a cousin that looks similar to how King Charles will look today. Same dark chocolate skin with that good jet black, shiny, healthy hair. We still look like our ancestors. The problem is that we don't know our ancestors, nor do we care about our ancestors. We as a people repeat this karmic cycle of being mistreated by other nations because we fail to address what our ancestors did to the Most High. We continue to do as our forefathers did, doing even worse things to each other. We refuse to see how we have never kept our end of the covenant established between the Most High and us. Even when we do come to the knowledge of who we are, we still can't get along. Hence, all these different Hebrew camps teaching different doctrines. Christ will bring everything back into order. We will get along. How black people fell from power in the United Kingdom. King James the sixth and the first is the king who formed the United Kingdom. At that time, the kingdoms who he united were England, France, Ireland, and Scotland. During this time period, Caucasians, white folk, were second-class citizens. This will be similar to how black people are second-class citizens today, but they have been even lower than that in the past, talking about the white folks. Back then, black people were known as blue bloods instead of black people. King Charles took the throne when King James died in 1625. King Charles took the throne when King James died in 1625. The nickname given to King Charles, King James' second son, was Black Boy. We as a people fell from power because God was about to start punishing his chosen people for the sins of our ancestors. It was our ancestors who wanted Christ crucified, so the wicked of our own people murdered our king. It was not just our people alone, though. The Jewish impostors that were placed in the land around 720 BC, 2 Kings 17, verse 24, King James Version, were also there. We as a people have never held up our end of the covenant. We have continued the sins of our forefathers, and we have done worse than them even. Ecclesiastes 8, verse 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. We thought that we had gotten away with murder, sexual immorality, worshiping other gods, etc. But the God of Israel doesn't operate on our time. We still had to pay for our sins, and the punishment for sin is death. I just told you how Christ prophesied what would happen to our people. Slavery and death are exactly what we got during the transatlantic slave trade. From our atrocities stem a massive amount of heartache and pain that we have never really dealt with. God used the nations to punish us. This is what the black Christian church does not want to understand due to their pride and their lack of faith. Most of them, especially in leadership, don't want to take any accountability. They don't want to admit how their doctrine that came from Satan's church, the Roman Catholic Church, is wrong. Deuteronomy 28, verse 47. Because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart for the abundance of all things, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee. Not the devil, the Lord shall send against thee. In hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. That's the side of God and Christ that the black Christian church don't like to talk about. They don't like to hear about that side because they just want to deal with the blessings because they're one-sided. See, it's a one-way relationship with them. During the end of our reign in the United Kingdom, there was a lot of war and famine among black people who ruled in the United Kingdom during the Stuart dynasty under King James. The Ottoman Turks took Rome back, which began the Roman Catholic states. This would eventually lead to the Renaissance era. This era in time is where white folk came in and repainted all the biblical figures white. They also began to cover up our true history by using a false image of Christ, aka Caesar Borgia. Spain and Portugal, Caucasians, were the first to travel to Africa looking for the rest of the lost tribes of Israel. They wanted to enslave them, and they did. Oh boy, did they. They transported them to the Americas, or they brought gold, rum, spices, and the native people of the Americas back to Portugal and Spain as slaves. There was, for you, we was already here. Maybe you want to go to Portugal and Spain and ask them where the slave ships was at. There was a lot happening at the same time during the beginning of our fall from the British Empire, but we did not fall out of power overnight. After King James died in 1625, his successor was his second-born son, Charles I of England. This is our history that's not taught in school or church. His firstborn son, Henry Frederick, Prince of Wales, died at an early age. The beginning of the fall of the British Empire in Europe started with the 30-Year War. This war was started by the Roman Catholic states from 1618 to 1648. The new modeled army was formed and led by Oliver Cromwell, a loser, in 1645. He was responsible for completely converting the royal family. Okay? This war was started by the Roman Catholic states from 1618 to 1648. The new modeled army was formed and led by Oliver the Loser Cromwell, who was a loser in 1645. He was responsible for completely converting the royal family. At this time, our nation was in shambles. Cromwell took the son of King James, Charles I, captive and executed him by beheading him in 1649. God was implementing his curses that have been written in Deuteronomy 28:15 through 68 on our people. The last stance as an independent nation that we fought was in 1789 AD during the French Revolution. There is a reason that I focused on the word revolution. When our people talk about having a revolution, it means that we, as second class citizens, are planning to overthrow the current ruling nation out of power. We even put it in our music. Do you want a revolution? Ooh, ooh. I said, do you want a revolution? This is not a coincidence. There will come a time when we will have another revolution in America. God will free us again. Revolution. The definition: one, an overthrow or repudiation of the thorough replacement of an established government or political system by the people governed. Sociology: a radical and pervasive change in society and the social structure, especially one made suddenly and often accompanied by violence. If people who were warring against each other during the French Revolution were all of the same race, Caucasian, this war would have been known as the French Civil War against the United Kingdom. The Stuart dynasty controlled France. Napoleon, the loser, led the French Revolution against the black ruling people of the British Empire. It was a revolt led by Napoleon against our last ruling ancestors. 1789 was the beginning of the end of the British Empire, where we completely fell from power in the United Kingdom. We all know how Napoleon went around destroying and defacing our historical artifacts in Egypt. An example, blowing the nose off the Sphinx. Why would he destroy black artifacts if he were revolting against other white folk? Because he wasn't. He led a revolt against our ancestors by destroying not only our history, but us as well. That is the part of Napoleon the loser that is not taught. Here's a jewel that I found in Wikipedia. French Revolution. The French Revolution Française, was an influential period of social and political upheaval in France that lasted from 1789 until 1799 and was partially carried forward by Napoleon the Loser. During the later expansion of the French Empire, the revolution overthrew the monarchy, established a republic, experienced violent periods of political turmoil, and finally culminated a dictatorship by Napoleon the Loser that rapidly brought many of its principles to Western Europe and beyond. Inspired by liberal and radical ideas, the revolution profoundly altered the course of modern history, triggering the global decline of theocracies and absolute monarchies while replacing them with republics and democracies. Through the Revolutionary Wars, it unleashed a wave of global conflicts that extended from the Caribbean to the Middle East of Africa. Historians widely regard the revolution as one of the most important events in human history. I guess. This is how the fake royal monarch family of Charles and Elizabeth came into the United Kingdom. There isn't anything royal about them. They are nothing but opportunistic thieves who wear the stolen crown jewels that once belonged to our ancestors when we ruled the United Kingdom as the Stuart dynasty under King James Stuart. Once we fell from power, the nations wanted to make sure we did not figure out our history. They went to great lengths by covering our history up with lies and misinformation perpetuated by the leaders of the nations. The United Nations was formed for the reason of keeping us as a people from knowing the truth. Psalms 83, verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Confederate. 1. United in a league, alliance, or conspiracy. 2. Initial capital letter of or relating to the Confederate States of America, the Confederate Army. Noun. 3. A person, group, nation, etc., united with others in a confederacy, an ally. 4. An accomplice, especially in a mischievous or criminal act. 5. Initial capital letters. U.S. history. A supporter of the Confederate States of America. Verb. Used with object. Verb used without object. Confederated. Confederating. 6. To unite in a league, alliance, or conspiracy. Hashtag. Wake up, Judah. And we have another picture. Okay. Bam! There he is. There he is. That is King James, the sixth and the first son. His name was King Charles the First, aka Black Boy. And you can see from this picture right here that skin is dark, honey. That skin is dark. Now, when you Google him, just Googling him, they're going to try to show white pictures of him. But when you put in that nickname, aka Black Boy, then his whole history pop up. Let me let y'all marinate on this real quick. Charles II, by grace of God, King of England, Scotland, France, and Ireland, defender of the faith. Look at that nose. Look at that nose. Them lips. Look at that nose and them lips. Don't play. Don't play. Boy, you've had the arm of the match. He was sharp. He was sharp. The boy was casket ready sharp. I started writing this book 10 years ago. Okay? That's how I got to 1,431 pages. And baby, you see all them words. 805,950 words. Bam! Will the real King James please stand up? Alright, and we're continuing on here with King James the Sixth and the First, The Truth About the American Revolution of 1775 by Yakana Fitz Savage. Independence Day, aka the 4th of July, was not a day of independence of white pilgrims gaining independence from other white British rulers, like how the elite have spun the narrative of what really happened. Negroes once ruled Great Britain. The redcoats of Great Britain were Negroes until we fell from power. As a result of our fall, would be America coming into existence. There are many indicators in history that expose the truth about the transatlantic slave trade. There are indicators of how Great Britain was not a part of the slave trade in the beginning of the colonization of the Americas. It was Portugal, Spain, and France, aided by the Roman Catholic states, who were responsible for 90% of all the rape, robbery, and enslavement of the lost tribes of Israel who dwelt in the land of Arzareth, aka the Amesicas. England would eventually become a part of the pillaging of the land after the black rulers of Great Britain fell to Napoleon the Loser in the French Revolution, which began 1789 and ended 1799. But the reign of terror that the Spanish began marked the ending of the Dark Ages, which was a time period that was ruled by Negroes. This was the beginning of the Renaissance era. This is why I do not celebrate any type of Renaissance festivals. They have these pagan festivals here in Minnesota, but I have never attended one personally. I've talked to some of the people who participate in these festivals, and they are not even aware of the true origins of the Renaissance era. Learn your history. It's just like when, it was a thing a while back when white folks didn't know about Tulsa and and Black Wall Street. You know, uh, they didn't know. So, okay, and then let me get past this picture here, which is I will show. We'll come back. Job 9, verse 24, King James Version. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? The founding fathers of the Americas were not righteous men by far. I have talked about how the founding fathers were actually atheists who were in secret societies. They did all kinds of satanic rituals that they still continue until this day. The year of 1492 is the year that Christopher Columbus, a Spaniard aided by Juan Ponce de Leon, sailed the ocean blue in search of the lost tribes of Israel and the hidden treasures of King Solomon. Christopher Columbus and Juan Ponce de Leon went up and down the central and southern seaboard of the Newfound land, raping, robbing, murdering, and enslaving Israelites. Then he transported some of them back to Spain. Him and his comrades nearly wiped out a whole race of native people, taking them from being numbered in the millions and dwindling them down to the hundreds. He should never be recognized because he is so evil. And I actually spoke about this, gave the true origins of Thanksgiving and everything else, and why I don't celebrate Thanksgiving. So make sure you check that out. Jeremiah 5, verse 15. Lo, I will bring a nation upon you from afar, O house of Israel, saith the Lord. It is a mighty nation, it is an ancient nation, a nation whose language thou knowest not, neither understandest what they say. Excuse me. When the Spanish conquistadors invaded the Americas, the natives of the Newfound land did not understand the Spanish language. The Most High said that he would use this nation to bring down his chosen people completely out of rulership on the earth. The black Christian church don't like to hear about this side of God. Jeremiah 6, verse 22. Thus saith the Lord, Behold, a people cometh from the north country, and a great nation shall be raised from the sides of the earth. Spain is the north country that this scripture is referring to. This is why the majority of the Newfound land have been converted to the Spanish language. Hispanics will even look down on each other for not speaking their oppressor's language. They denounce their true culture to uphold their oppressor's rule over them, just like with us. Verse 23. Verse 23, they shall lay hold on bow and spear. They are cruel and have no mercy. Their voice roareth like the sea, and they ride upon horses, set in array as men for war against thee, O daughter of Zion. Women had their children ripped from their womb and dashed upon rocks. The atrocities committed by the Caucasian Spanish conquistadors were compared to hell itself, because we forgot our God and began to follow the gods of the other nations. The Lord allowed Satan to have his way with us. If the natives did not bow to Caesar Borgia, who was the false white image of Christ that was used against the natives, they were burned at the stake. Just like when our people who ran into West Africa will be forced into Islam by Ham and Ishmael. Yeah, they came into West Africa with the Quran in one hand and the sword in the other hand. So that's how they got so many black people today. They don't like to talk about that. That's how they got so many of our people today. Deuteronomy 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Who else do you know that personifies themselves as the eagle? Think about it. After the towers collapsed, scam, what did the wicked leaders say? we shall rebuild. This is what I know about the eagle and the Messica. The eagle. Bald eagles love fish. These birds are opportunistic predators. I have that in all caps. Slavery slash massacre of the natives and Negroes. And when fish aren't available, they'll eat whatever they can catch. Parentheses, greed and desperation, all caps, including small birds and rodents. Bald eagles are also scavengers that will feed on carrion. If they see an opportunity, bald eagles may even steal stolen land, stolen people, food from other birds such as osprey. Although they are one of God's beautiful creatures, they are opportunistic predators, aka thieves. So Spain and America chose the perfect animal to symbolize their nations because both are opportunistic predators, aka thieves. The national symbol of Spain is the short-toed eagle. The national symbol of America is also the bald eagle, but the national symbol of Britain is not an eagle at all. It is a lion and a unicorn, which represent the northern and southern kingdom of Israel. The lion represents the southern kingdom of Judah, Negroes, and the unicorn represents the northern kingdom of Israel, natives and Latinos. No other book, the Bible, has prophecies that have actually happened. Yeah. Obadiah 1, verse 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Deuteronomy 33, verse 17, King James Version. His glory is like the firstling of his bullock, and his horns are like the horns of unicorns. With them he shall push the people together to the ends of the earth, and they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the 10,000s of Manasseh. The Spanish also began to bring Hebrews to the newfound land, where they forced them into slave labor. These Hebrews were refugees located off the western coast of Africa. The Spanish did this all for the cultivating of the land for all its gold and natural resources. This is still being done by Esau, Ishmael, and now China. Joel 3, verse 6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. The natives of Africa, who are the original descendants of Ham, were the ones responsible for capturing and selling Hebrews to the Spanish. Some say that they did it for guns and ammunition, but I say it was because they knew that we are not the same people. In the prophet Joel's time, the term Spaniard did not exist yet. That is the reason that the scripture mentions Grecians, but he understood that the people who would fulfill this prophecy were descendants of the Greek Empire, and Spaniards are descendants of the Grecians. Deuteronomy 28, verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. America is also symbolic to ancient Egypt. The word Egypt means bondage. Just like our Hebrew ancestors served bondage and slavery for about 230 years in ancient Egypt, here in America we have served another nation as well for over 400 years. When I mentioned Egypt, I was speaking about our time in slavery, which was about 230 years. I was not speaking about our overall time spent in Egypt. God said this time we would go into this bondage by slave ships, but it wasn't slave ships from Great Britain that brought us here. The ships might have come from Spain, but they were financed by the Jewish impostors, just like the plantations. Exodus 20, verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. 1493 AD is the date Pope Alexander VI of Rome, who was also of Spanish descent, commissioned his son Cesare Borgia to be painted as the false image of Christ. This false image replaced the true image of Christ, who is depicted in the Bible as Negro. This image was to be used by the Jesuit priests of the Roman Catholic States as propaganda against the natives of the newfound land. Those natives who did not accept the newly painted white image of a corrupt Spanish Caesar would be burned at the stake. Christopher Columbus was not the first explorer that discovered America. His sidekick, Juan Ponce de Leon, discovered America first. Ponce de Leon, Juan, UXL Encyclopedia of World Biography, 2003, copyright 2003, The Gale Group, Inc. Juan Ponce de Leon, born c. 1460, San Servais, Spain, died July 1521, Havana. Cuban Spanish explorer and conqueror. The Spanish conqueror and explorer Juan Ponce de Leon conquered the island of Puerto Rico and explored the coastline of Florida, which he claimed for the Spanish crown. Early life. Juan Ponce de Leon was born in San Servais, Spain. Although born into a noble family, he was poor, and like many in similar situations, he sought fame and fortune as a soldier. He received an education in fighting skills, manners, and religion while serving a knight named Pedro Núñez de Guzman, and later helped in the 10-year conquest of the Muslim kingdom of Granada in southern Spain. Afterward, Ponce de Leon heard stories of Christopher Columbus, c. 1451 through 1506, discovery of a new world, and volunteered to go along on a return trip. In September 1493, he was one of the 1,200 men who set out for the island of Hispaniola, modern-day Dominican Republic, and Haiti. Ponce de Leon survived disease, bad weather, and a shortage of food and drink to help colonize the new lands by forcing the Indians into slavery. Conquering and governing. Ponce de Leon spent most of the early 1500s in Hispaniola, establishing farms, distributing land rights, helping construct buildings to aid in defense, and working to set up an island economy, system of production, distribution, and use of goods and services. He also married and fathered 4 children. He was named deputy governor of the island in 1504. The natives told Ponce de Leon that he would find gold on a neighboring island to the east called Borriquien, Puerto Rico. 4 years later, he crossed over and conquered the island. During the conquest, he shared the honors with a famous greyhound dog named Bercelio. It was said that the natives were more afraid of 10 Spaniards with the dog than 100 without him. Ponce de Leon was appointed governor of Puerto Rico by King Ferdinand of Spain, 1452 through 1516. The island became popular with other settlers because it was well run by Ponce de Leon, and it had a large number of slaves and many natural resources. Ponce de Leon was also noted for his nonviolent treatment of the natives, which was rare for the time. Stripped of his title as governor by King Ferdinand in 1512 after a political conflict, Ponce de Leon obtained permission from the king to discover and settle the island of Bimini, which was believed to lie somewhere to the northwest. He was also interested in locating a famous body of water that was said to have the power to restore youth to the aged. This myth, repeated to Ponce de Leon by the natives, was of European origin. According to the legend, the spring was in the Garden of Eden, which was located somewhere in Asia. The early Spaniards believed America to be Asia. Important discoveries. In March 1513, Ponce de Leon sailed from Puerto Rico and a month later anchored near the mouth of the St. Johns River on the northeast coast of Florida. Impressed with its many beautiful flowers and having landed on Easter Day, he named the land Florida, from the Spanish Pascua Florida, or flowery Easter. While traveling southward, he encountered the strong current of the Gulf Stream as it poured through a channel. He had discovered the Bahama Channel, which later became the route of the treasure ships on their return voyage to Spain. He continued exploring the East Coast, then sailed up the Gulf Coast to Pensacola Bay. During his return voyage to Puerto Rico, he sighted several small islands crowded with tortoises and named the island the Tortugas, or tortoises. In 1514, Ponce de Leon returned to Spain, where he received another grant to establish colonies in the island of Florida at his own expense. In February 1521, the colonizing expedition landed on the Florida coast near Charlotte Harbor. A fierce attack by Native Americans caused the settlement to be left abandoned. Ponce de Leon, wounded in battle, died a few days after returning to Cuba. He was buried in Puerto Rico. The words on his gravestone read, "Here rest the bones of a valiant Leon, mightier in deeds than in name." And it's www.cyclopedia.com/topic/Juan_Leon.aspx. Alright, in the Seminole Wars of Florida, no event hindered the development of the territory of the Florida and no event hindered the development of the territory of Florida and slowed the effort of Floridians to gain statehood more than the Seminole Wars. The conflict between white man and Indian in Florida became the longest continuous war in which the United States government engaged an enemy. To the Seminole, it is a war that never officially ended. The origin of the Seminole conflict dates back to Governor Moore's invasion into Spanish Florida in 1704, in which he introduced bands of Creeks into the region to destroy the Spanish Appalachia. Many of these Indians remained in Florida and later joined the British to fight Georgia settlers during the American Revolution. http://floridahistory.org/seminoles.htm. In one of my Facebook posts, I was speaking about how the church lost the youth today. One of the main reasons is because of the lack of evidence concerning the prophecies surrounding Christ and Israel, Negroes, Natives, and Latinos. I am showing you how what happened in history relates to the Bible, and that's what these Sunday pastors have failed to do. They only care about your money, while I haven't asked you for a dime. Anyway, there were thousands of dark-skinned Seminole natives, Reuben, who also joined forces with the Brits to fight in the Revolutionary War. There were also runaway slaves who also joined forces with the Brits. The Ex-Slaves Who Fought with the British by Christopher Klein. While the Declaration of Independence asserted that all men are created equal, an entire race of people living in the colonies during the American Revolution knew that the lofty rhetoric didn't match reality. It never does. When British officials issued their own Emancipation Proclamation nearly a century before Abraham Lincoln's, upwards of 20,000 slaves made their own Declaration of Independence by running away from their masters and fighting on the side of the British. http semicolon forward slash www.history.com news the forward slash news the x the slaves who fought with the British. The Revolutionary War was fought from 1775 through 1783. It was a war that was fought between second-class Caucasian citizens. Great Britain did not completely fall out of power until the French Revolution, which was fought from 1789 through 1799, led by Napoleon the Loser. Iconoclasm is the act of destroying images or religious icons, often for religious or political reasons. The paintings of black nobles in Britain were not altered to appear white until around 1848. This was around the time that they were emancipated. The word Brit is a Hebrew word meaning covenant man. The people who have a covenant with God are Hebrew Israelites, descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Today, these are Negroes, natives, and Latinos who are still scattered across the earth. British, home, articles, biblical proof, Brit-am, Hebrew nations, British, the Hebrew meaning of British and related words, March 11, 2014, 9 Adar 2 5774. The word British in Hebrew means covenant man. It is related to the expression Brit-am, meaning covenant of the people. http semicolon //HebrewNations.com /articles /biblical proof /BA Brit ish.html. King James VI and the First was the king that formed the United Kingdom. At that time, the kingdoms that were united were England, France, Ireland, and Scotland. During this time period, Caucasians were second-class citizens, similar to how black people are second-class citizens in America today. Black people back then were known as blue bloods instead of black people. King James died in 1625, and his second son, King Charles, took the throne. No one can ever take my confidence. No one can ever take my confidence. Because I know that I come from royalty. I know the truth. And that's real. The blue blood is black blood. 1100 through 1848. And the surname Blue Blood is Black Blood Museum are based on historical research by Egmont Gottfried, and the states that Europe was ruled by a brown and black complexion noble and bourgeois native elite, which oppressed the whites, the Third Estate, till 1848, when the newly emancipated whites had all old master portraits altered to show white instead of brown faces. http semicolon / blue blood is black blood blogspot.com / 2013 underscore 8 underscore 08 underscore 01 underscore archive.html. During the end of our reign in the United Kingdom, there was a lot of war and famine among the Negroes who ruled in the United Kingdom during the Stuart dynasty under King James. It was the Ottoman Turks who took Rome back and began the Roman Catholic states, which began the Renaissance era. This era would be the one where the Great Delusion would start. This is the era where all the main biblical figures, as well as our black royalty, will be repainted white. They then began to cover up our true history with the false image of Christ, Caesar Borgia, approximately 1493 AD. The Spanish, Portuguese, and Caucasian were the first to travel to Africa and America looking for the rest of the lost tribes of Israel. They conquered and enslaved us, then transported us to the Americas while they brought gold, rum, spices, and some of the rest of the lost tribes of Israel back to Portugal and Spain as slaves from the Americas. There was a lot happening at the same time during the fall of our people from power in Britain, but we did not fall out of power overnight. When we fell out of power, our enemies tried conspiring to make sure that we would never rise again. Psalms 83, verse 2. For lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. I guess this answers the question of why none of our own, besides Queen Nzinga of Ndongo and Matamba, or any other people, ever tried to come free us from slavery. They did, but they were not Africans. They were Israelite Brits from Great Britain. Wake up, Judah. Before I get my update, so how many of you dumb fools gonna be looking this coming 4th of July? You gotta read between the lines. Look at the symbolism. We. So, first, I would like to say thank you so much. Thank you so much for kicking it with me and, being here and listening to me read out of my book and, everything that I found out about King James. The real King James. Will the real King James please stand up? So thank you for, thank you for your support. Thank you for your time. And this is it. Have a good night. No, I'm just playing. I wanted to get all of that out the way because this next portion is mine. It's me. This is about me. It's about me. So, I'm gonna start off with a few little rants that I put on Facebook over the last few days, and then I'm gonna give a little mini life update. So, here we go. In the last days, all will be revealed. One day, these self-called apostles, bishops, pastors, deacons who be drunks anyway, and these so-called Christian prophets will face danger. When people can't get access to money in the bank, there will be people who will hit up PASA for all those dollars that they gave. People will want answers, and they will not be able to explain why the church hasn't been raptured yet. The rapture will happen, but not the way it's being taught on Sunday. By the time the rapture happens, there will be no more America. The soil is literally soaked in the blood of our ancestors, the Most High's true people. Negroes equal Judah. Negroes throughout the world have faced the worst atrocities out of any other race of people on the earth. Lake Lanier, Central Park, Black Wall Street, the attack on Gary, Indiana, Tuskegee experiment, the government spraying chemicals, secret Cold War testing in the hoods of St. Louis during the 1950s and 60s, private prison scheme, Planned Parenthood, Margaret Sanger's stank ass, and of course what we already know about the transatlantic slave trade, slavery, gator bait, 500 treaties broken, all the massacres against the natives, Negroes, and much more. A lot of people are waiting on a rapture that they were told lies about. When the church realizes that they will go through the great tribulation, they will be pissed. People will see how they have been scammed out of their money and be pissed. I know I would be pissed if I got scammed by a fat-ass pedophile proclaiming to be a bishop, going around telling one spouse that they have to pay the tithes of the other. Where is that in scripture? Tubby ass, fatso. Tithes is food. Matthew 23 and 23 King James Version. Spices. They, pastors and bishops, lost the youth because of their Hester Chestering, pimp daddy behavior, and their failure to reach out to the youth, behaviors in which some church leaders have been exuding for years. It made it easy for Muslims and Pan-Africans to come in and steal the youth away. The youth were coming across guys like Dr. Umar, Young Pharaoh, and Brother Polite, whom was sentenced to 7 years in prison for sexual battery of his 14-year-old stepdaughter. A lot of the conscious dudes be pervs, Dr. York. Just like some of these Hebrew dudes. Hebrew dudes with their polygamy, which is BS. Ladies, tell him the Most High commanded Noah and his sons to take one wife. To take one wife. Also, there was one time that I watched a dude in one of the Hebrew camps brag about being able to have relations with young girls in the New Kingdom. Just wrong, ignorant, dumb, and senile. Anyways, I tried to explain to many pastors about why the youth were leaving the church, but I was met with nothing but hate and resistance. But now look, barely any men, and it's the same with the youth. But why? Because the baby boomer generation thought that they would be able to control the millennials and future generations like how they, the boomers, were controlled. They thought the do as I say and don't question me will work, but they failed. Why? Because of computers, technology, and being able to research. Duh. Men like Umar and Pharaoh will whip many pastors and bishops by challenging their doctrine because they know that most of their doctrines come from the Catholic Church and not the Bible itself. They would try to make it seem like the Bible is plagiarized from African stories based on African gods. But guys like Dr. Umar are no match for me, my Bible, and what I teach. I can prove that Christ existed in the flesh. I can give the date of his birth and the date of his crucifixion. I've already given that. And things, it's in the video, things you should know about Christ. Go find it. It's there. I can use the Bible, history, as well as science/DNA to prove that Negroes are the real children of Israel. I can prove why Negroes are in the conditions that we are in today. I can prove the existence of us in Egypt as well as our exodus out of Egypt and so much more. I guess you'll have to watch my YouTube. I said after I put it on video, I'm just referring people to my YouTube channel, and that's real. I'm no longer debating with people. I'm no longer debating with people. Nobody. I don't care who it is. You know, hey, I know you don't know me. You know, that's not my problem. You know, so I've been here and I'm here now, and I ain't going nowhere. So, but yeah, like I said, after I put it on video, I'm just referring people to my YouTube channel, which is Magic Doesn't Work on Me. One word. Magic doesn't work on me. No spaces. These pastors and etc. thought that I was their enemy, but it was their own self who could not see past their own jealousy and pride. Most of these pastors and bishops lead with a do as I say mentality. That's where they failed. They produced no facts to combat the lie of the Bible being a white man's book. A lot of these pastors don't know history and they do no research, just lazy. When guys like Dr. Umar come at the youth telling them to stop worshiping a white Christ, how holidays are pagan, and leave Christianity, these pastors can't combat that. You want to know why? Because they're too busy telling you to not give to the poor. I feel bad for Shani O'Neal because that man that she's attached to, he's going straight to hell. Straight to hell. And he don't know scripture. He's an idiot. An idiot. Telling people not to give to the poor. I don't care what he said. I heard it. He's an idiot. But I knew that when he snapped his fingers in that lady's face like she was an animal. I knew it then. Like, oh, you one of them. And then, like I said, I feel bad for Shani. Mm-mm. The sad thing is that I can combat that, and people, pastors, bishops, and etc., be jealous because I can and they can't. They are jealous because I can reach our people in a way that they can't. These are people who are like, oh, I don't argue the Bible. They don't argue the Bible because they don't know the Bible to argue it. They argue over sports. Catch that. They will argue over sports. They can tell me all about LeBron James and the Pittsburgh Steelers. They can tell me all about that though. But I bet they fat ass will argue me up and down if I said you use baking soda instead of flour to fry chicken. Because you know that's false, but you don't know the Bible, so therefore you don't argue it. Oh, and they hate how slick my mouth is. Imagine that. Imagine that. People who have been slick with their mouth using hurtful words to harm their own family for years now have a problem with how slick my mouth is. Is it because I'm not a coward that will talk about you behind your back like how you do to me and others in the family? Is it because you know that my blade is sharper than yours? Is it because my horns are bigger than yours and my bite is stronger? Who knows? A great example would be how I told a few people about the Book of Jubilees. They won't tell you how they try to clown, discredit, and treat me like I don't know what I'm talking about. It was because of how they looked down on me for years and truly never thought I would mount to anything, but I did. I couldn't possibly be the one who could tell them anything because it was a who am I type of mentality that a lot of them showed to me. Only to be left in the dust, only to be left in the dust, choking on me being right. Some be jealous that it's not them bringing information that I know. They even wonder, how do I know what I know? Because surely God can't be with me. This is how a lot of people think. This is how a lot of people think. But He is with me, and I will continue to prove them wrong. The Most High has been with me since I was a child. I always knew that I was gifted. In the last days, the truth will be revealed, and people will still defend the lie. The truth is, Christ was placed in the tomb on Saturday, and He rose on Tuesday. The lie, Easter and its true origin, Ishtar or Astore or whatever the name is, rabbits laying eggs, Resurrection Sunday. Christ did not rise on Sunday, Sunday worship, and eating abominable foods that are not good for the body. That holiday ham. Child sacrifice to Moloch and Baal. Some of you have kids and will throw a fit if someone lied on your child or about your child. You will gag in judgment when God checks you about the lies that you participated in concerning His Son. I didn't know won't be an excuse because you have seen this post, you have seen similar things to this. You will say, I didn't know, when you really should be saying, I didn't believe. That was cool for Rufus and Edna Mae back in the 1920s, even all the way up to the 70s. But it will not be cool for Pookie and Boom Squeesha. Why? Because Pookie and Boom Squeesha literally have computers, cell phones, in their hands or back pockets or on their chest. But you know what they are worried about? You know what they're worried about? A goddamn green bubble in a goddamn group chat. iPhone versus Android. Priorities and wanting to stay a victim when we are not victims. 2/3 of our people will not make it into the new kingdom of Christ because of those two reasons and a few more. But the kids, it was for the kids. A very coward excuse, but it will be used. Teaching your kids pagan traditions of men is child sacrifice. You are teaching your child to worship after other gods. The food usually eaten during these pagan holidays is unhealthy, so this is also passing on obesity from bad eating habits to a generation that's already consumed with Taco Hell and McDonald's. All of this ties together. I know you don't want to see it that way, and I am not God, so you will believe what you want. But know this. Know this. Some will not get it until they are standing in judgment, listening to God tell them this. By then it will be too late. And for the person who be looking at my post saying, I'm not about to read all that, it used to offend me, but then I had to remember that I'm dealing with people who are 30 plus and still read on a sixth grade level. I have to remember that I'm dealing with people who say things like, I've been reading the Bible for 20 plus years, but somehow didn't even know that Christ has siblings. Mind blown. These are people who stand in front of you in a pulpit on Sunday. Joke's on you. The blind is leading the blind. And this is why they don't like my ass. But hey, it is what it is. I always say it's not like I didn't start out being nice. Sometimes I really sit in disbelief about how blind Christians can be. I've never seen a people who are so sure about what they believe, but only 20% of Christians actually read their Bibles. Of over 2 billion Christians in the world, less than 30% will ever read through the entire Bible. The fact is, over 82% of Christian Americans only read their Bibles on Sundays while in church. A little over 20 years ago, Gallup released the results of a major study indicating that 86% of Americans claim to be Christian, although only 70% of these admitted to being born again according to biblical measure. Some don't even believe in water baptism, fully submerged, but really think that they are born again. You need water, fully submerged, going under dead, coming up a new creature in Christ. In recent studies, the Pew research indicates that only 25% of Americans now attend church any given Sunday, significantly down from 47% in 1990. In recent studies, the Pew research indicates that only 25% of Americans now attend church any given Sunday, significantly down from 47% in 1990. The study also shows that in evangelical churches throughout the United States, statistics show 36% of those who attend church weekly indicate that believing in Yeshua Christ is the only true way to heaven. A shocking 57% of American Christians believe other religions can lead to eternal life. One of the main reasons why American Christians don't read their Bibles is only 22% of them believe the Bible is fully inspired by the Most High Himself and written by men who are divinely appointed by the Lord Almighty. Over 1 in 4 American Christians believe the Bible to be a book written by mere men, not at all the Word of God. When Bible owners everyone were asked how often they read the Bible on their own outside of a church service, only 10% of respondents said they do so every day. A shocking 40% never touch their Bibles outside of a church service. For the full report, please read State of the Bible 2022 from the American Bible Society. It's crazy. I might not have known the actual statistics, but I already knew this information of Christians, so especially self called apostles, bishops, pastors, and deacons. I might not have known the actual statistics, but I already knew this information of Christians not reading their Bibles outside of church, especially self called apostles, bishops, pastors, and deacons. I knew this information because of the conversations that I would have with pastors, the one on one conversations. It was always them telling me to actually close the Bible so that they could talk. They would give me their theories and what they believed when they would speak, but they would never really use scripture to back up what they were saying. I started to notice that. I never changed what I believe in, never changed my stance, always stood 10 toes down. Everything that I'm telling you here, I've been saying for years, whether it was on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and now YouTube. It's been a long journey. I remember when I first started and how I was called a Facebook preacher. Today, I see a lot of different church leaderships using social media. Baby, let me tell you something. They hate me because they ain't me. They know that I am chosen as well as me. Don't ever give up on yourself because I never gave up on me and I never will. People think that things are just handed to me, but I have had to fight for any and everything that I have. It's because of the Most High that I am here today. Most people would not survive what I have been through. I will never forget my past 2 birthdays. Imagine no calls, no texts, or no visitors on your birthday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all those other pagan holidays that most people celebrate. At one point in time, I got rid of my cell phones because there would be days and days when I would not get a phone call or text. There wasn't any point in paying a $160 phone bill. It was very bittersweet. I did feel a sense of freedom, but I also felt a lot of other emotions as well. There was no family, no friends or lover, just me and God. I remember one time I got really sick and had to go to the hospital alone. There was no one to check up on me. There were times when I was scared, but I only had me. Hold on. Yep, there was times where I was scared too, but guess what? I only had me. So, but through the grace of the Most High, I made it. I am telling you this so that you know anything is possible through Christ. And this is not in my book, but hold on, I'm about to read something else too. I am also saying this for anyone who thought that their magic would take me out. It might have even worked for a little while, but I survived by the grace of God. Will you? Energy has to circle back around, and eventually it will circle back around to the one who sent it out. Oh, you went to a practitioner, so you think that you are good? Well, you and that practitioner will have to endure that energy, and Lord knows what that practitioner will do to you when they find out how you lied and got them in some mess. If the practitioner was experienced, they should have known better, but sometimes money talks. I get it. A karmic lesson for you and that practitioner. Sometimes the divine will test a practitioner as well. And also, some people like, oh no, I don't do magic. For my people that be out there that be mad at their exes and stuff like that. So, you might know somebody that's abusive, or they might even have an STD or something, and you trying to talk this person into going to talk to your ex because you know that they could do harm to that person, guess what? That's magic. That's magic. And in that case, you would be the practitioner. See, people do not realize they'll say, I don't practice magic, I don't do magic. Yes, you do. Lying on people, that's magic. Manipulating people, that's magic. Okay? That's magic. Scamming, numbers, that's magic. So, yeah, man. I am telling you this so that you know anything is possible through Christ. I made it through this time period because of Christ. He did not let the spell work of my enemies defeat me. I went through this isolation within isolation period. Hey, that's what it felt like. For 3 years, but I was already in isolation from the time my brother left Minneapolis up until Queen died July 1st, 2021. Rest in peace, Queen. My move to Minnesota was me being isolated from my family. Thank God. After Queen died, I came back home to Minneapolis and basically never looked back. Me actually cutting me actually cutting my former friends and my family off started the isolation within isolation period. Today, I'm thankful for this time period. I found out how strong and independent I truly am. I talked about this situation in the last chapter of my book, and it's already on YouTube. I guess this is a little update. This is April 25th, 2025 is when I wrote this. It wasn't until Lamian passed away, October of 2024. And Lamian was my cousin who was trans, uh, you know, and I'm talking about like, she had top surgery and stuff like that. But I didn't like who that person was, and so this is who I refer to my cousin as. So it wasn't until Lamian passed away, October of 2024, that I even spoke to any of my family. I made the decision that I would never go back to Toledo, and I am standing on business with that too. I always tell everyone it's just me. I have no family, friends. I am single for about 4 or 5 years now, and celibate for 2 years. And I'm not looking for a relationship. Um, that's the thing with me and other people. So many people, they think that like it's because they can't be by themselves. I could be by myself and be happy. After all I've been through, baby, it's actually quite peaceful. So, you know, that's other people who want love to come in. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I'm human, of course. Yes, I would want a relationship, of course. But I'm not going to beg anybody. I'm not going to lower my standards. I'm not going to um, put forth in like 100% and the other person only putting in 5. No, thank you. Those days definitely over. And if anybody think that they gonna come back and they think that it's gonna be like that, you in for a rude awakening. You might as well keep moseying your little self along. So, um, it was so bad for my family that they were doing wellness checks on me. It wasn't bad for me. I was living my life. I really couldn't believe that. I don't know why a wellness check, because it's not like anyone has come out here to see me, and that's okay because I'm not looking for anyone to come. Honestly, I thought it was something wrong with me until one day I came across a few YouTube videos of people talking about going no contact with their family. For once, I felt someone understood what I was dealing with. My mom and I are back speaking. I speak to her here and there. I didn't talk to her on Mother's Day, which is Sunday, um, which is well yesterday, because now it's like 2:43 in the morning. So, but I don't celebrate holidays, so I haven't wished her a happy Mother's Day in years. So I ain't gonna start today. Um, for once, I felt someone understood what I was dealing with. My mom and I are back speaking. I speak to her here and there. I talk to my cousins, Timberly, and that's it really. As for my dad, the last time I spoke with him, I cussed him out really badly. I don't regret one word that I said. DJ played the chorus of Madonna's Human Nature. As for my brothers and sisters, I've concluded that I will move on without them. We were not raised to be close, and that is not my fault. I pray they're all blessed. I'm done trying to forge any type of relationship, nor am I looking to rekindle any. When I was a child, I would always say, when we grow up, we will not be close. It's no hard feelings on my end. I am simply saying what the energy slash situation already had been. It was always me running back and forth to Toledo, me calling, and me creating text groups, but no more. This chapter, I'm being so selfish with me. I have been moved into a new place and I have a new career. I wanted to get ahead in life, and I knew that there were necessary changes that I had to make in order to achieve the goals that the Most High has for me. I know that one day I will be seen. I will be seen by others who are like me and have been through similar things that I have been through. All I know is to keep on moving, keep on shining, and not look back. I will make it. I will walk through the gates of success. That's my energy overall. I will win because I am abundant and chosen. I never gave up on myself, and I never will give up on myself. You can't break my confidence. You won't. I mean, it's just, it's impossible. People will wonder how I made it. These are the same people who never supported me, nor did they care about what I had going on in my life unless it was some form of mess. But I'm telling you this, the gates of success that I will walk through are going to have people saying, how did this happen? How did you do that? People in my own family already feel that I don't deserve to be blessed. These same people have no clue of what I have been through. This is why I am the way that I am with my family today. I walked away and never looked back. I know that I have a mission, and if I didn't do this mission, no one else would. None of them was going to answer the call. None of them was interested in doing the work, reflecting on things that needed to be changed in their lives, healing inner childhood wounds, and learning the lessons that God wants us to learn so that we can grow. Nah, they were too busy hating on me, trying to make me know it, while being caught up in the world. None of them felt that inner strength, had faith within themselves or God to do this work that I am doing. They always talk about their relationship with God, but they don't know Him for real. And I can see straight through it and them. I don't care how hard they sing about Jesus. They can sing until they're blue in their face. I know that it is all for show. They know that I know too. And that's why they get mad at me. None of them will accomplish what I will accomplish. It takes a special kind of person to go through what I have been through and still make it. I have had many ups and downs. Things did not always go my way. There were times when I felt like a failure, all while dealing with people laughing at me, mocking me, and calling me crazy. People tried to make my ideas seem small, but I held on to my vision that I had for myself. I also noticed how the same people who were mocking me started doing some of my ideas, child. I saw it as confirmation. People will hate on your People will hate on you and your ideas because they didn't think of the idea first. Not saying I was the first person in the world to put the truth on social media or, YouTube or nothing like that, but I was the first in my family and in the city of Toledo, Ohio to do so. I will also say that when I started posting truth, there were not as many people as there are today posting truth. Today, I see all kinds of channels on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube posting truth. I know that I was effective because I remember my posts on Facebook reaching all the way to Africa. People were and still are sharing my posts in Africa because I never deleted my main Facebook page. I just deleted everybody off of there. I help people. I never thought that I would even be doing something of this magnitude. I just thought that I was learning this truth because it's something that I like to do. I never intended on getting in front of the camera to speak. I never would have thought that I would be producing videos and have a platform of my own. It's just like with my oils. I never thought about trying to make my oils into a business. But today, I have Savvy Sense. And speaking of Savvy Sense, make sure you go to Facebook and check out my page, okay? It's Savvy Sense. That's SAVVY space SCENTS. Savvy Sense. 2 words, and I'm on Facebook. And so I sell oils, right? This is a 1 ounce. It's a roll on. See. So I sell these for $30. This is my Earth Angel Savage. I don't sell this one. This is exclusive for me. I don't want nobody smelling like me. But this is my my Savage Flame, and this masculine scent. Smells very good. But I sell these bottles like this, and they're really, and they last. There's these are the raw pure oils. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about here. Savvy Sense. And I've been wearing oils since I was 16 years old. I've been getting compliments on my oils since I was 16 years old. I just never thought about selling it until I got out here. And, I was talking to somebody, and before I would, here and there, I would, sell here and there. But I kind of put it off for a little bit. But I'm starting it back, and it's really taken off. So, but my business is doing quite well too. So make sure you check me out. I am gifted. I can cook my ass off. I can edit and produce videos. I have the gift of gab. I can coordinate colors. I can dress. I have my own style. I am a businessman, hence Savvy Sense, hence this platform. I am a leader. I am independent. I'm very intelligent. I can manage my own household. And I look damn good while doing everything that I do. This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hated. And this is why I'm hot, and this is why I'm hated. Okay? I am hated. I was the one who was never supposed to make it. Y'all don't understand that. I was never supposed to make it. in a lot of people's eyes. They won't come out, they will never come out and say that, but thank God I have spiritual gifts. I can read energy. I don't need no cards. I can read energy very well. Situations, I can read it very well. So, I was never supposed to make it. Everything was set up against me. But because of the grace of God, I did. So, yeah, man. Let me repeat that. I am gifted. I can cook my ass off. I can edit and produce videos. I have the gift of gab. I can draw and keep an audience. I can coordinate colors. I can dress. I have my own style. I'm a businessman, savvy sense. I'm a leader. I am independent. Very independent. Hyper independent. No codependency over here. And sometimes people get mad at that because they want me, it's like they want to like bully me into submission and stuff like that, but it's just like, how can I be submissive to somebody when I've been on my own for so long? I pay all my own bills. I take care of myself. It's impossible for me to be codependent on you. Who I am as a person won't let me be codependent on you. Okay? You better recognize I'm the type, I'm going to go out and I'm going to make it. And I ain't got to throw it in your face. You're going to see it. My success is going to speak for itself. I ain't got to go back and forth with nobody or fight unless somebody put their hands on me, that's different. But I don't got to do all of that. My success, I keep to myself. I don't bother nobody. I ain't mad at nobody. I ain't hold no grudges. I don't have no grudges towards none of my exes. And if any of my exes have, hey, I'm sorry for whatever I did to you. I hope you can heal because I have. And that's 100%. I wish you well. Wish you the best. Didn't work out. And I always know, like, it's easier to blame than to take accountability. I might not have been there. I might not have supported people's dreams, but a lot of people wouldn't have dreams today if it wasn't for me. You wouldn't even be alive to have dreams. Okay? I done got people into treatment for their HIV. Done got people off of drugs. But when none of that stuff matters. It's, my dreams wasn't supported. Forget about how this person saved your life for you to turn around and have dreams. But that's neither here nor there. I know that I'm not perfect, but I know that I'm definitely not a dog. And that's what I used to think, like, people, like, dang, why do people, like, get so upset? It's because they can't use me. They can't use me. They come in, they think one thing, and they leave or get left thinking another. I'm not as dumb as I look. I'm not as easy as I look either. But, like I said, I keep to myself. I don't need no friends. I don't need no cheerleaders. I'm my own cheerleader and have been for a long time. And what's for me is for me. And what's for you is for you. Whatever is for you won't miss you. Whatever is for me is for me. I mean, I had this conversation with somebody a while ago. Like, you might want a house. You might want a house. Big old house, multiple bedrooms. I don't want that. I don't even want that. I've never. That's. I've never even in my manifestations. I've never written down that I wanted a house because I don't believe it. Then you just hear me saying, "I know family." Who am I leaving to? See, you probably got family, but me and you not the same. We can have different wants. We can have different, you could like labels and materials and stuff. I don't like that stuff. We all have different. We all have different tastes. I don't like hot tamales. You might love hot tamales. Don't make me a bad person because I don't like hot tamales. Don't make you a bad person because you do. We just have different tastes. But a long time ago, I said that I'm not gonna be sitting around holding grudges against people. It is what it is. I've released a lot of stuff, and every day I'm releasing shit. But it is what it is. I'm not holding any grudges against anybody. It is what it is, and I hope people can heal. I mean, it is what it is, man. So, I moved 10 hours from my hometown and I thrived. Not many can say that. The ones who are still stuck in Toledo around some of my fake, holier than thou family are miserable. They want a better life, but they are too afraid to step out on faith and leave Toledo. Misery loves company, and that is why they, so called family, ex lovers, and ex friends, try to talk down on me. It's jealousy. I made it against all odds. I made it. I made it. You know, nobody left me, and I ended up out in the cold. Nobody took anything or anyone from me. Mm-mm. I didn't have to go and stay with nobody or anything like that. Thank God, by the grace of God. But see, I don't turn around. I don't brag about stuff like that because anything can happen. I don't brag about tax brackets and stuff like that because, look, anything can happen. Look at where we at now. Anything can happen. So, to me, when people get to arguing and trying to throw up materials and stuff like that, it's small mindedness. Like you don't even know how to argue. It's small minded. So I made it against all odds. I made it against all odds. Against all odds. Against all odds. You wouldn't even know. Like Beyonce say, you won't break my soul. You can't break my soul. You won't break my soul. I'm telling everybody. Nah. But I can see right through people who may have more than me material wise, but are so bothered by me. I simply let them deal with that because I have no bad intentions for no one. I'm not trying to get even with anyone because I have moved on, dropping all hatred and grudges. Today, I am getting back to where I was before I met people who I let lead me astray. Today, May 10th, 2025, I'm going forward with my plans, my goals, my dreams, and my mission. I am Savage. Deuces. What's up next, you ask? Red bone, red bone, red bone. This is who's up next. King David. Yep. Oh yeah, so time for me to go to bed. I'll be up late. See, I'll be up late. Look at the work I'm doing for y'all, you know. But like I said, never give up on yourself. Never give up on yourself, because one day things will pay off. Things will pay off. And it's okay to not tell everybody your business. It's okay to keep things on a hush. You know, I put things out for a reason, because I know I got people that watch me, and you know, that's lurking, and I I I had to step outside the situation and look at these people, and I really felt sorry for them, because it's like, you supposed to be all the way up here, or you supposed to like you're supposed to be better than me, right? I'm supposed to be beneath you or whatever, but yet you stalk me, be lurking on my pages and stuff like that, and you know, this family, ex-friends, ex-lovers, you know, people that never went nowhere with. It's craziness. It's craziness. You know, and when I am done, or when I'm, you know, not interested in any type of ship, whether it's family ship, relationship, whatever, I move on. I don't be lurking and trying to keep up with. Mm-mm. And when I say I'm done, I mean, I'm walking away and I ain't coming back. I'm good. You know, some situations, some situations, after a while, you will turn around and look at them like, damn, I dodged a whole bullet. I dodged a whole bullet. You know, I'm getting ready for a birthday that's coming in soon. You know, I made plans for my birthday. Uh, it's none of your business, but I did make plans. And I'm living my best life. I'm chilling. I look good. You know, I'm doing me. And I hope that you are doing you. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your well wishes. You know, and for people that's watching and lurking and, you know, being nosy, thank you too. Thank you too. Other than that, y'all have a good night now.